So I'm going to record this for those who aren't able to be here today. I have dropped in the chat the agenda and the slides for tonight. There's a lot of clickable links in there, so feel free to pull that up. I will also drop links in the chat. This is our PLF Mentor Quarterly Meeting, number 1 for this cycle. And this meeting is for those who, and I see everybody here, either a PLF or if you're mentoring this year, you should be here. So far, so good. Okay. All right, so our objectives are to just welcome, kind of check in, and then we're going to do a little bit of an orientation because there were some changes this year to how we're going to be paying out, especially for the mentors. And then I want to go over Meet the Teacher plan, which is going to be happening August 5th. And then since if we have the small group, we can just kind of move through at our own pace and see where we end.
Okay.
All right. And let me make sure that. Okay. All right. So, okay, we all know each other, but let's just go ahead and do it. Name, certification area, and what state you're currently in. And then I had this fun little thing like your current rabbit hole. And so rabbit hole would be something that you kind of were researching or finding out about something new, that you kind of went down a big rabbit hole and spent hours researching, right? But if you don't have one of those, then just what have you been up to this summer since we met last? So I have Laura on my screen first. Laura, do you mind going first?
I don't mind. I'm
Okay.
Laura Sample. My certificate area is AYA Math, and I currently live in Georgia. And I like the current not rabbit hole that I'm dealing with right now is that I just got a new phone, so I'm trying to get that set up. And I'm in limbo. Like it's my one phone doesn't work and my new one's not set up yet. So, but the current actual rabbit hole is the amount of protein that you need in a day, because now I'm 50 and like I guess after 50 you lose muscle mass. So me and my sister-in-law are a little bit down this rabbit hole of like knowing we need like at least 100 grams a day, but then how do you get it? And like trying to keep track of it and learning all the things that have a lot of protein that I didn't know. So, I mean, so anyway, that's where I'm at. I just learned a
That's so
I learned a
Really
lot of
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I learned something new.
that is so true. It's so hard to find that amount of protein. Like you have to really eat a lot
You
of
lose, so
protein.
you lose after 50, you lose 3 to 5% of your muscle mass per year
Wow.
if you don't like do something, if you don't exercise but then not just exercising, but also getting protein to build it up. Like they're not into like you can't just work out and keep your muscle mass and you can't just protein. So you'd be surprised though. There's protein in a lot of things that are easy, I think, to eat that I didn't realize. So I'm learning
Okay. Okay.
how to
I'm gonna
get
have
it.
to
I
ask
got
you.
108 grams. Yes.
That's
We're gonna
pretty
have
good.
to ask you for tips later.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me know. I'm an expert now.
Okay.
When you eat more protein, it curbs your hunger too, doesn't it?
Yeah. So I've been doing protein shakes because I started working out at a different gym and they're big on like the whey protein. So I've been making protein shakes, at least gives me a good like almost fourth of the amount I need, and it keeps me from being hungry.
Yeah.
You're right. It does
Okay.
curb your hunger.
Awesome.
Nice.
Denise, you're next on my screen.
Sure. So my name is Denise Alvarado. My certification was ECGen. And I'm in Dallas, Texas right now. And current rabbit hole I'm going through right now, honestly, this is my last week off. We go back on Monday. So my current rabbit hole I'm doing is I'm literally just trying to not think of it, do everything because I know and not because I'm not trying, just because I know myself. And once school starts, that's when I'm really in a rabbit hole. So I'm trying to avoid getting in any of the type of like anything, because as of Monday, I will be in a rabbit hole
Yeah.
until May. So
Yeah.
I'm just trying to chill right now. That's all I
Yeah.
want to chill, relax, watch TV, hang out. That's it. 'Cause I know it's coming soon. Coming.
Okay, well, TV can be a rabbit hole. Did you
Yeah, yeah.
do you have a certain show that sucked you in this summer?
I watched Yellow Jackets on HBO.
Mm,
That was good. Yeah, interesting
mhm.
show. And then I binge watched Happy Gilmore, both of them. So yeah, just movies.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'm glad you're here. Glad you're
And
Thank
joining us.
you.
the new Happy Gilmore is so good. I watched it yesterday.
Yeah. Oh, you watched it yesterday? We watched it
So
this
funny.
morning. Uh-huh. It was funny. Yeah.
Put it on my list. Holly, how about you?
My name is Holly, and I am coming to you from New Jersey. My certificate area is exceptional needs, ENS, and I'm one of the professional learning facilitators this year, working with Bobby Faulkner. And my current I feel like there's always a rabbit hole. There's a perpetual rabbit hole. There are many different ones. So I know if you're getting ready to go back to school in Texas, it's coming for us, because we are literally here in New Jersey. In my district, we're still we're still in summer school,
Oh,
right, until Thursday. And then, so we have about another month before we go back. So at this point, I think my rabbit hole would be trying to find ways to like relax and just mellow out before the school year begins, because it's coming
yeah.
very soon.
For
Also,
sure.
Holly, can I say something? When did Bobby, what was her last name? The one who wrote the books that you guys gave us?
Faulkner,
Yeah, she like became part of the program.
she's been
Yeah.
part of the program. Yeah.
Because when I was in the cohort, I never talked to her, never met her, never had her in any of her Zooms or
Yeah.
anything. And then when I
Mhm.
popped in the other day, which I guess I wasn't even supposed to pop in to that other meeting, I saw her on there and I was like, wait a minute, is that the Bobby Faulkner that the books that I read about 1,000 times?
Yes, that's Bobby.
That's wild to have her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so
Yeah.
cool. That's going to be so helpful to the other candidates that get to
Yes.
have that one-on-one with her.
Yeah.
Yes.
We
That's
have
so
some
cool.
superstars in here. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Laura's the scorer of the scores, and we have Holly's been doing this forever, and she's
Yeah.
just so. I mean, we've just got the cream of the crop here. So we're excited about that. So my name is Kelly Kelly. I am ENS, just like Holly. I primarily worked with early childhood with preschool. I'm here in Texas, and my current rabbit hole is trains. Okay, so
Mm.
I just bought a house,
Mm.
and there's actually a train railway right next to my house. And so I was researching trains. I didn't realize like how big of a deal trains are to people, and that they have this whole like Facebook sites and websites where they like log all the times that they've seen trains, and they take pictures of the trains and put them on this Facebook site. It's like I had no idea people were that into trains, like all different kinds of trains were on there. So I've been learning a lot about trains this summer, completely nothing to do with my life other than curiosity, but that's currently what I've been doing.
I have
All
a
right.
friend who has a house it's like a suburb of Atlanta, and they have a train track that runs like right behind their house. Like their house and then their backyard, and then like right on the other side is like this train track that runs like just right through sort of their neighborhood. And it's really loud. Like when they have parties and we go and you can see the train. And like a
Yeah.
couple months ago, it crashed. Like the train crashed.
Really?
Oh
Like
my gosh.
right down the way from his house. Like he could see it from his house. It was so crazy. And then the news came and interviewed him. It was
Really?
anyway, just a tidbit of the
Okay.
the
I'm
train.
gonna have to add that to my rabbit hole list of information that I learned recently about trains.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, crazy. Hey, Bobby, we're just introducing ourselves. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I think she's trying to get set up.
Let's see. Testing. All right, we'll move along, and then once Bobby gets all set up, we'll see. Bring her back around. Okay, so
I'm here.
Oh, good. Hey, Bobby, real quick, do you want to introduce yourself? Tell us where you're located and what your cert area is, and just maybe something you've kind of been getting into this summer.
Sure. Oh, thank you. And I apologize for being late. I'm Bobby Faulkner. I am an MC Gen and I certified long, long ago, 1999. So I think I'm the old veteran in the group. I live in Scottsdale, Arizona, and I've been doing a lot of traveling this summer. So that's been great. As you know, I live in a hot climate and being away to a little bit cooler climes, even saw some rain, which ruins a lot of people's vacation, but it kind of makes ours special. So that's kind of what I've been doing this summer.
Awesome. Well, good to see you.
Thank you.
Okay. So we're going to get into some kind of foundational pieces just to ground ourselves in kind of the direction and focus of the Region 10 program. I also want to give you a little update on the legislative, what's been happening in the legislative session that's recently ended. So the legislative session, what happened is that they basically deferred the decision to continue with National Board until not this December, but next year, December. So what they're saying is that they want the SBAC, which I guess is the licensing organization of Texas, to look through National Board and determine if National Board is compliant with Texas state law. Does it meet the objectives and targets of TEA, as far as I think they specifically named phonics, and there was like one other thing that they named. So this to me is not great news, because now we have to wait a whole another year and a half before we even know if we're going to be able to continue our cohort work. Okay, so again, we're going to wrap up the group that we have now. I'm hoping that we'll at least get a temperature feel, like which way they might be going, but we won't know. They don't need to make a decision until December of the following year. Generally, what's happening in Texas, I know, I think there's just two of us here from Texas, but generally what's happening in Texas is that TA is not looking at National Board favorably here. They see it as competing to the teacher incentive allotment program that we have here. And so they're kind of shying away from supporting the National Board work here. So just so you understand kind of the climate and culture that's happening here, we have 20 ESCs, we're 10, the 10th one. None of the other ESCs have a support program. We're the only ESC that has one. And so, you know, to be allowed to continue has just been, I've just been so thankful, but know that we just don't have a lot of support, right, for this work. We also don't have any more grant money. So we are running off of grant money, and we no longer have that. So that being said, that's kind of like the foundational pieces. And know that you have, between Karen and I, we are both advocating for this program to continue, and we're trying our best in every possible way to keep this program alive. So we're back here working hard on that. So Zaida, remember Zaida, before she left, her and I sat together and we kind of created a program goal for Region 10. And so the purpose of the Region 10 National Board program is to expand and strengthen the National Board certified teacher community across the region, so Texas, ensuring that every student benefits from the expertise of an accomplished teacher. And that's the focus of our program, is to get as many national board certified teachers in front of kids as possible in Texas. And then I just want to go over and kind of reiterate, this is nothing new, but just so you can just see it visually, that we have a complete wraparound service. We have our cohort meetings here on the top right, which is, okay, don't pay attention to percentages. I couldn't erase that, but you get the idea. Cohorts are a big chunk of it, but so are mentor meetings, right? Cohort support, the mentor meetings. I also had some writing workshops, which I got a really good amount of positive feedback. They really appreciated that. That's a part of our program. The district support that we ask from principals, allowing candidates to have days off, communicating with principals about what to expect. And then the last piece is that independent work time. That's still part of the program. We expect them to have that. So comprehensively, one of these is not more important than the other, or works alone. I don't want one to feel like they're siloed. All of these parts work together to develop and provide a comprehensive program. Okay, and then just from listening in on your conversations last year, doing the leadership cohorts with the national board once a month, all of the cohort leads would meet together with national board. So listening in on that kind of thing, I want to ground ourselves in 3 kind of focus areas for the year. And the first one is using a cognitive coaching model. And really what this means is that you're allowing teachers to come to their own understanding through questioning, right? And I actually went to a kind of coaching training with Jim Knight through NEA and through national board line. So cognitive coaching is really allowing teachers to come to their own conclusions about things through questioning. And the second thing I want us to focus on is encouraging collaboration, because, you know, teachers are professionals, and as they're coming through this program, we want them to have that experience of an authentic, candidate-led professional learning community. So if we can encourage that, I think that the teachers would appreciate it, but also they're building their little PLCs outside of their schools, right? So we want to kind of encourage relationship building, community building. And then the last one is, I want to throw that in there because I think sometimes we get stuck on this cognitive coaching model, like where we have to only provide a questioning, right? Sometimes, and this is what I hear from candidates, I'm going to try to clarify this. Sometimes it's okay just to give them the answers, right? Sometimes it's okay. And so the way that I'm going to distinguish this is, and this is the way Jim Knight said it, right? Like if you were driving down the road and you stopped and asked somebody directions, you don't want that person to say, well, what do you think? You know, like, where do you think you need to go? Like, you know, where's no, you know, like you don't want to go through a questioning protocol. You just want the answer, right? And so examples of that would be like dates, like when is something due, right? Or other technical information, pages, how much pages can I write for this kind of thing? I do highly recommend though, that if you are doing this information sharing kind of thing in your mentoring or during sessions, is that you're making sure that the information you're giving is accurate. Okay, please make sure the information is accurate. And then even more so, a lot of times in my mentoring sessions, we'll find the information together because I can't memorize all those details, even for ENS. I can't remember all the how many pages and how much, you know, what size font and all that. I have to go back and I'll find it with them and show them where I found that, or I will give them the resource by email, like page 12, it says this. Because we definitely don't want to be giving candidates wrong information. There's enough confusion as it is. Okay. Any thoughts about those pieces, those foundational pieces? Okay. All right, so I have our handy dandy click sheet here. This is clickable if you have the presentation open. If you do not, I am going to go ahead and add it to the chat. We're going to be working off of this for the orientation section of our presentation. We're going to go over cohort expectations, mentoring expectations, which are pretty similar to what we've done in the past. Invoicing is going to be new for mentors. And then resources, just real quick, going to go through and show you what I've got for that. Okay. Okay, so cohort expectations. We have Denise and Laura. This is kind of how it's going to be built out this year. On the click sheet, you'll see you're going to have your resources on the left and then the dates on the right. The green ones here are going to be kind of the stuff that's the target audience or the candidates and the PLFs kind of a thing, or it's a little bit different. Meet the Teacher is going to be where we're introducing the candidates to the PLFs and the mentors. I'll talk about that in a little bit. And then the black bolded ones are going to be your regular cohort meetings. It's generally the third Saturday of the month. However, there were a couple of adjustments. I think Christmas may be a little different. And then May is a little bit earlier, so we can get everybody before submission. So these are going to be all your dates here. You are going to notice that in August, you folks are still on contract. So I'm going to ask that you're there, even Denise, be there for the 3 hours, 9 to 12. But after that, you're only going to be asked to be there from 10 to 11. Okay, because it's 1 hour per 1 hour, you have 10 hours, cohort hours. So we really only need you there from 10 to 11. Holly and Bobby are going to be doing some instruction, and then they're going to be giving you instruction on to work with your candidates in breakout rooms, perhaps, and then come back. You guys will leave, and then they'll finish up with a little bit more instruction. So all of our dates and times are here. Now, just to be clear, the cohort meetings are from 9 to 12. They're from 9 to 12, but we only are requiring mentors to be there from 10 to 11. Okay? If you cannot be there, please let Bobby, Holly, or I know, because they are trying to figure out how to do groupings and breakout rooms. And if you can't be there, they need to know to rearrange in a different way. And then Bobby, Holly, and I talked a little bit about what your role might be in a cohort session. It's very similar to what it was last year, right? You're answering candidate questions. Perhaps you're providing personalized feedback because the candidates might not want to ask that question in a larger group. They'd prefer to be in a smaller group. Helping with the activity. So if Bobby and Holly has an activity that they want them to do in a breakout room, you're supporting with that. And perhaps you're reinforcing concepts that Bobby and Holly have presented in the whole group session. Okay, and then this last little bullet here says 10 hours starting in September. So August, you're still on contract from last year. September, you have 10 hours. They actually, Bobby and Holly, you have only 9 hours used. You have one kind of bonus hour that you get to figure out how you want to use later on. Okay. Any questions about that? Yes, Denise.
I'm sorry, I was on the link and I was trying to look for the mute, but I couldn't
Okay.
find it. Sorry.
Okay.
So, I'm sorry, I'm not on contract from last year.
Right.
So you said the contract starts in September
Yeah.
for me, but
Yeah, so Denise, you and the art mentor you're gonna be a little funky. So you are on contract but only as hourly. So I'm gonna ask you to collect your hours from the August meeting, from this meeting, and from Meet the Teacher, and then whatever you attend, I'm gonna just pay you that hourly rate. But for everybody else, they're on contract still.
okay. Okay,
Okay?
sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay, thank
So
you.
I will email you and let you know what that's going to look like. And I'm going to get to that, the timesheets. I'll get to the timesheets in a little bit.
Okay, thank you, Kelly.
Of course. All right, let's take a little brain break from that. That's the cohort section. We're going to move into the next section later. Oh, perfect. Okay, Bobby's going to email some things. Okay. And I had a little activity, but there's only a few of us. So what we're gonna do is just kind of like brainstorm, just get our brains ready for this next upcoming year. What are some common pitfalls of C2 and C4? And we can just share it out since we're a small group. Bobby, Holly, feel free to participate as well. What do you remember about C2 and C4?
I could write a book.
Okay.
You did write a book. You did write a book.
I know, I'm making a joke here. I'd like to hear from
I'll go.
others. Yeah.
I'll go. From what I remember, I mean, it was 22 years ago, but obviously I still remember. But I remember just the directions themselves. And then not only do you have the directions and the forms that you have to fill out, you have to go over to the and I can't remember the instructions. Holly, remind me, is that instructions, right?
Yeah, component instructions, portfolio
Yes.
instructions, right?
Yes, yes. And so then you have the forms and then you have the instructions. And so I found it like, okay, I have to do what it says on the form, but I also have to dig deep into the instructions. And there's like a whole bunch of other writings that I have to do as well. So those earlier before we started the meeting, I think Laura was talking about how some candidates, and I mean, I passed the first year, thank the Lord, thank my mentors, thank Bobby's books, thank everybody. But that's what I found for me was a pitfall, just remembering to just be so thorough with reading everything and the font size and the number of pages, the number of words, the number of everything. That was my experience.
Oh, and we got Emily popped in. Good.
I mean, I agree with that too. The reading it's, I mean, that's how I start my mentoring groups is their first task is to read through the entire component directions. And then I make them read it again and again. Because I think where they get stuck is those pieces. I think within each component though, there are lots of pitfalls that I think are more specific, like component 4 with the assessments and their data and how to format their data. Like there's just there's so many intricacies on that one. Component 2, I don't think there are as many. I think for them, it's just being able to differentiate, pick activities that show differentiation, at least for math. I don't know what it is for the other
I
components.
guess it's so different for different certificates in component 2.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's very different. I know for ENS, sometimes people don't realize that you have to talk about behavior and academics. It's not either or, it's both. Yeah.
And then C4, I know Diane was talking about this, and I was talking about this earlier, it's being able to tell the difference between a summative and a formative assessment. And I think we practice this and we know this, we talk about it in PLCs, but then it doesn't show up in the writing. We're not clear on what that's supposed to look like. Maybe because the language that we use is not concrete enough.
Or self-assessments too.
Right. Or they forget the self-assessments altogether.
Yeah, I would agree. Pre-test and the formative causes a lot of confusion, and also just the fact that component 4 has, several sections. It has several different focuses. Is that a word? Foci? I don't know what the plural is.
Yes.
That, every other component, it has a focus on student work samples or the videos or something like that. Whereas component 4, you've got, the knowledge of students, you've got assessments, you've got your professional learning need, you've got the student need. It's just a whole lot. And there's so much data to collect and it takes a long time.
Yeah.
I think for C4 too, a big issue is what must connect and what doesn't have to connect. And even if they must or they don't have to connect, what's the best for you? Like, are you going to do what's easiest or are you going to do what showcases your teaching practice the best? And so understanding that, because that could be a deal breaker.
Sure can.
Mhm. Yeah, I feel like that too.
All right. If you have any other thoughts, please forward them to Bobby and Holly so they can help. That can help build their curriculum. They are
Can I
asking for feedback.
Can
Yeah,
I
go ahead.
ask just the mentors who are here a question? So when we were picking the time, like what the time frame you should be there during the monthly meetings, we went with the 10 to 11 o'clock time frame. Do you have any feedback to that as opposed to like being there at the beginning, being there at the end, being there at that time? Just we're just looking for feedback from you, because we want to work collaboratively with you during this whole process.
I
Uh,
think I think part of the trick of all that, right, is that there are those of us who are on the East Coast and then there are people who are on the West Coast. So I think 10 to 11 probably works best for like the
Okay.
people on the West Coast too, who that would be like what, 8 to 9. Am I right, Bobby?
Yeah, right, yeah.
I missed so
Okay.
hard.
We're 2 hours different right now. Of course, that changes in the winter, so that's the trouble. Yeah,
Okay, but it's a happy medium, so it's not too early, not too late. Okay, that's good to know.
thank you, everyone.
Mm-hmm. I had another question to ask them too.
Sure.
Let me see, what was it about? Hold on. It'll come back to me.
Okay, well, just stop me if you come up with it
Okay.
again.
Okay.
No, I think I was wondering if that would be weird to have it in the middle, but that also allows you some freedom to end early if you needed to, right? So if you had to come at the end, then that kind of thing. So yeah,
Mm.
I think that's good. Just a little break, and then they come back, and then you can correct any of the misconceptions, or if the mentors say they're still having a hard time with this, can you we go, that kind of thing. So I think that's
I
good.
remember what the question is for the
Okay.
mentors. Like it's component 2 and component 4. So like we're
Oh,
beginning with component 4, right? But at some point, sooner rather than later, we have to introduce component 2 also. Because it's really, really important. But we wanted to start off with 4 because there's so many variables and there's so many things you need to be doing ahead of time or like in the beginning, right? Just looking for feedback and input from you, as to when you think a reasonable time would be to introduce component 2, because some of the feedback we got from last year, previous components, were when they did component 4 and 2 in the same meeting, people were getting confused. Like they would spend part of the time on component 4 and then they go to component 2 and they were going back and forth and seemed to cause some confusion. So just looking for feedback, that's all.
I think for I'm speaking for math.
Okay.
I would be hesitant to have them wait until I'd be hesitant to have them wait until spring semester to start that, just because they have to pick a unit and they have to pick activities within that unit. And so
Right. Well, we came to the conclusion we definitely have to begin before the springtime. We know that. So
I think regardless of what, I mean, I understand that we have to plan it so that it makes sense, right? So that we're
yes.
not, I do get that they get sort of confuddled when you do 4 and 2 at the same time. And for somebody who doesn't, even though they've done 2 components, there's still 2 more that they're trying to make sense of and all of this. But I think as a mentor, regardless of what the PLFs decide on when to introduce it, which I do think should be before springtime, I think as a mentor, I'm going to introduce and talk to them about things for component 2, like in part of as part of our office
Yeah.
hours. I don't, and I will do that on my own, but I would assume that other mentors would want.
Yeah. We came to the conclusion that we definitely have to introduce it before the springtime, probably sometime, when did we say, maybe like October, November, Bobby, maybe.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we've got August, we got September,
That seems,
we have,
I mean, that seems right. That
yeah.
seems doable. And I mean,
Okay.
who knows? We have to try something, right?
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for the feedback. It's helpful to know that. So Bobby did like a breakdown of the time frames for component 2. Like the time frames you have to collect the information or you have to teach a lesson. And we're going to share those early on, probably. Well, we're talking on Friday, but we'll probably talk a little bit about that on the 16th, just so people know the time frames. If we don't delve deeper, but yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Denise, did you have any feedback for them?
No, I like the October for C2 around that time, like you were just talking about, Holly, because from what I remember, when we first started doing this, everything was introduced at the same time, and I had no idea what anything meant. So literally, it was just giving me more anxiety than it was actually helping me because I didn't know what it meant. Do you know what I mean? So then
Mhm.
I like getting C4 introduced first, and perhaps and you said for 2 meetings, right? Or for 2 monthly
Yeah.
meetings, Holly?
Yeah, we're
What
trying
you
to
said, August and September. And then, like Laura said, in the meantime, making sure that not to confuse my candidate that I'll be working with, but more like solidify C4, what it's needed, what it's required. And then once as a cohort, you introduce C2, then that's when I'm really going to step in as well, of course, before, after, whatever. And then just really get that, because some of the vocabulary that's talked about, some of the terms, I don't know. I just remember myself in that situation, and it was very confusing when everything was given to me at the same time. So I like your plan. I even wrote it down when to,
Okay.
that I need to get myself ready. I'm gonna go back to my books right now after this,
Yeah.
and just really go back to that. So yeah,
Denise,
I
I'm sorry. I thought you were
yeah.
done. Sorry. Go
No,
ahead.
good. No, I was done.
I just wanted to check because I did come in late. Are you EC Gen?
I am.
Okay, that's what, thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah. And Bobby, she went through a Richardson cohort, which we did support for. So she worked with Robin throughout her
Great.
process. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Emily, I see you. I'm assuming that you're not able to talk. You're probably in a meeting, I'm guessing, but just know that I see you. And if you ever want to pop off, and Emily's going to be our art mentor. And so she's going to be working with
Great.
Tommy this year.
Good. Hi, Emily.
Okay, so let's go through the mentoring expectations. And Holly, Bobby, this is really just for you to know what the mentor's role will be. Okay, so your mentoring structure, which we were kind of getting into, that's really going to be up to you. You can, create your own timeline. You can decide what topics you want to cover. You can meet with, some of you only have one, but if you have more than one, you can do a group session. It doesn't matter how you structure that. I'm really going to allow you to have the autonomy around that. Your meeting times, of course, are set by you and your candidate. So we used to do kind of an office hour things, and people wouldn't show up, and then the mentor is sitting around kind of just waiting around for people to show up, and that's not very smart on time, right? So schedule with your people, do it however you want, schedule for whatever time works best. Your mentor role, this is nothing new, but like I was talking about, sometimes you're going to be doing that cognitive coaching. Sometimes you're going to be providing resources for them. Sometimes you're going to be helping them find answers. Sometimes you're going to be helping them with planning, especially for your cert area. And sometimes you're going to be providing writing feedback, right? You're going to be reading, you're going to be providing feedback. Now, this is the big difference. I know this is a big change, but what we're looking at is we are moving to an hourly rate of $50 per hour for our mentors, and there has to be a cap, right? I don't have an unlimited budget. So you have 10 hours per candidate. Okay, and I think I have this on the next slide here. Yeah, okay, no. You have 10 hours per candidate. So if you have 2 candidates, you have 20 hours. If you have 3 candidates, you have 30 hours. You can use those hours however you want. If you, Denise, you only have one, so you have only 10 hours. But if you have more than one, and you have 30 hours, then you can do a whole group that counts as 1 hour. Okay, so it's just hour by hour. Then you're gonna get more bang for your buck the more people that you have. If you find that you're running out of time, please let me know, because we have a couple different options. Either I can try to dig up some more funds, or perhaps Bobby, I know Bobby has volunteered to read. I'm available to do some of that heavier reading stuff, read-throughs. So we can support you in that way if you feel like you're running out of time. Okay. And then just to let you folks know, just the other, I've worked with a couple different programs in the area, and this is not any less than what they would be receiving if they went to a different organization, right? So this is actually even more than what they would be receiving if they were to go with another organization that's in the area. So they're not going to be missing out or losing out on anything. Okay, the timesheets, this will take a little bit of time, and let me get, hold on a second. This one, because this is new, so let me get to here. Timesheets. So PLFs, I actually have PLFs in here, but you're not doing that because you're not on hourly pay. You're on a contract. I'm not asking you to collect anything to prove your attendance. But for the mentors, we do need something, because you folks will be, you will be hourly paid. Now, this is the links to your personalized timesheet. You should not have access to anybody else's, right? So Denise, you shouldn't be able to look at Laura's. The way that I set the access. And if you can, please let me know. And let me go ahead and put this in the chat as well. Where is it? Here it is. So you take a peek at that. I'm going to pull up a sample one so I can show you what it needs to look like when you complete it. There we go. That's not the sample timesheet. Okay. I don't want to open somebody's and it's kind of like personalized, so it's okay. Denise, do you mind if I open yours? Okay, there's nothing super secret in it, but let me show you. I just want to show you what I. Okay, so you're gonna have on the bottom listed the different months, and so your contract starts in September. Denise, I'm gonna do something separate for you for the and Emily for the 2 months. But starting in September, you should have the month already listed here. Your name should be here. If you have a vendor number, it should already be listed here. You have your region 10, and then you should have how many candidates you're mentoring this year, which is 1. If you find any errors, please let me know. You're going to fill out the day of the month. So this is September. So what event did you go to? The type of event that you attended. And if you're doing a mentoring session, who is it that you mentored? Okay, so for example, if you're doing mentoring session and you're doing whole group, you can possibly list 2 or 3 people. But if it's 1 person, you just list that 1 person. Your check-in time, your checkout time, it's going to auto-populate your hours. Now, depending on what you pick for your meeting type, that's going to auto-populate here on the right and kind of give you a monthly total. These numbers are going to look different for everybody depending on how many candidates you have. So for example, Denise has 1 candidate, she has 10 here. Some of you have 3, so it's going to say 30. And that'll just give us an idea of kind of where we're at with your hours. And then you're just going to type your signature here, the date, and then I'll do my part here. These are the instructions. Now, I did one other change that's kind of new is that I want to pay mentors monthly. And there's a couple of different reasons why. We are paying every 6 months. Monthly, because you'll get your money in a timely manner, especially when it comes to holidays and things like that. But also it gives me a good idea of how much time you're spending before 6 months hits. And then I'm like, whoa, that's a lot of time, right? This is gonna be able to let me know how much time you're spending, what you're spending it on. It also helps to let me know which candidates are not responding so that I can address those promptly. Okay, any questions about the timesheet?
So we're putting our cohort meeting hours on there also.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Separate from the mentor hours.
Yep. Yeah. And the cohort hours does not count as your mentoring time. That's cohort time.
Right. And then quarterly meetings also, just put that in.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay. So, and then once that happens, what we're gonna have to do is the invoice process, which is very similar to what you folks are already doing. PLFs, you're gonna continue to do this monthly. Mentors, this is new for you. You did this once every 6 months. You'll be doing this monthly as well. Okay. You're gonna provide your full name. You're gonna indicate whether you're a PLF or a mentor. If you select mentor, then we're gonna ask you to upload that timesheet. And let's see where to go. And so you are able to upload just 1 month. And the way that you would do that is you would go to File, you would go to Download, PDF, and it says Current Sheet. So that's gonna download September. Okay, and then you're gonna upload it to this document. This one here. If you're a PLF, then you just, if you click PLF, it won't ask you to do that, okay, because you're on contract. Address, only if your address has changed, because that's where we're mailing your check to. So whatever address you gave us on file, that's where we're mailing this, unless you provide something different in this area here. Your invoice date is going to be the last day of the month of that month. So in September, you're going to pick September 30th. I like that. PO number, don't put that in. We'll do that. Vendor number, we'll put that in. Your invoice amount, which should be located, I mean, you have your hours, it's $50. If it's not correct, I'm going to let you know and we'll talk about it. Put what you think you're owed. And then your date of service is going to be that month, September 1st through September 31st or whatever that was. You're going to put your signature. You can draw your name, draw your signature, and then I do this part and submit. Okay, we're going to do this monthly and then we'll see how it goes. Any questions about that? Perfect. And then I'll send out reminders about that. And the first time you have to do it, I'll send out instructions and probably repost this video so that you can go back and remember how that's going to work. Okay, so let's see here. The PLF and mentor meetings, that means our quarterly meetings. And so you're going to see here our Zoom link, our agenda. And if you click here, that's going to give you your current mentor assignments. If you see any errors in that, please let me know. It'll have your name, it'll have your candidates, it'll have their most current email addresses. Okay, so you can click on that. And then other important links, we have our shared Google Drive. Denise and Emily, I've added you to that. There's a treasure trove of resources in there. You could definitely a rabbit hole, so you might not want to attempt it. But if you want to take a dive in there, you're more than welcome. And then our Region 10 webpage. All right, so I really going to close us out by looking at the Meet the Teacher plan. The Meet the Teacher is going to be happening on August 5th. And the intention, the goal is to orient the candidates to the new year and to motivate the candidates to take on their second year. So, and the gray here means it hasn't happened, it's not happening right now, but that it will happen on August 5th. So August 5th, 5 to 6 p.m., the first 5 minutes, I'm just going to do a welcome. 15 minutes, Bobby and Holly are gonna go over the syllabus with dates, what supplies are needed, and what the expectations are for the candidates when they're participating in the cohort session. I'm gonna do a quick 10-minute goal setting activity with the candidates. And then we're gonna do a whole group mentor introduction. So have, something easy prepared, who you are, what your cert area is. And then we're gonna break out for 15 minutes into mentor groups. And I have some suggestions here. You don't have to do these. You can if you want. You do something totally different. Some of you already have a relationship with your mentor, but this is just a really short opportunity for you to reconnect with your candidates. You could discuss the goals that we created in the whole group. You could discuss when and how you're going to meet. You can already start setting up those calendar times. Talk about how you like to give feedback or how they want to receive feedback. You could possibly calendar out some tasks. So you can start thinking about when do you want your first draft due, those kinds of things. Ensure that candidates are prepared for your cert area. So we did a boot camp. They got a very, very broad overview of C2, C4. So maybe you want to go in and kind of give them some tips and tricks and things to consider for your particular cert area. Closing, and that's it. Short and sweet, nice and easy introduction to the school year. Any thoughts, questions about that?
I actually have a thought, something I'd
Okay.
like to throw out to the mentors. I'll preface it by saying that compared to last year, when really the candidates only had to do writing for component 3, this year is just going to seem like a very heavy workload to them. Now, we've been through it, and we all know that's the way it is this year with 2 components. Most of you, know your candidates to some extent, or you're going to be getting to know them, but somehow we have to work together this year to do whatever is possible for us to do as coaches, that they don't procrastinate. I mean, procrastination is their enemy, big time, with capital letters and exclamation points. So we don't want to scare them. We know that. But somehow, just in our conversation over the next month or two, we really have to impress on them that they have to not only find time, but make the time to do this work. So I'm just throwing that out there, however you think about it, however you like to approach candidates about it. Holly and I will, from time to time, I think, make a comment or so about it. I don't want to do tough love, at this point, so to speak, but on the other hand, it does them a disservice if we're not kind of honest about the workload from the beginning. So I'm just throwing that out for you to think about.
Great, perfect.
Mhm.
Yeah. Any other thoughts? Hi, Tammy.
Hi, Tammy.
You came just in the nick of time. Well, we're
No,
recording this, so you'll be.
yeah, I apologize. We're back in school. And so I just realized that August 5th is going to be tight for
Mm-hmm.
anybody else that's here in Arizona. I guess,
Yeah.
maybe trying to log in while I'm in my car.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Rachel will have that issue also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so the mentor, the only thing, Tammy, that's really important for that session is that last like 15 minutes. So like it would be 5:45 Texas time, around there. That's the breakout session with your candidates. Now, if for some reason mentors can't come, that I've already gotten some notifications of that, then I'm just going to excuse those candidates to leave early so they don't have to sit around for 15 minutes. And then I'm going to ask the mentors to go in and do some kind of introductory meeting with those candidates on their own time.
I'll be able to make it by
Okay.
3:45, so I can definitely make that part. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Perfect. Okay. All right. Well, that's it. Please let me know if you have any questions. I will be sending this video out for your review. The biggest changes is the timesheets. That whole process will be new. But other than that, we're ready to roll. It's time. 25, 26.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Good.
Mhm.
Who said that? Bobby?
Bobby said that, yeah.
Okay, well, that's one of us. No, no, I'm excited. It's just going to be a lot of work. I mean, we are
Yeah.
just
It
really,
is. We know that. Yeah, it is for
yeah.
sure. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for coming in. I will see you folks August 5th will be our next time.
You know what? I just had a thought, if I could just ask Kelly, I guess it's for you. You know, given the political uh, state of Texas that, like you shared with us, is this anything we should broach at all with the candidates? Like, just anything like, you know, we know there are some ambiguities going on, but we still want you to, you know, really, I don't know, work hard. I mean, do you think we should ever say anything about it?
Well, we're doing some of that on the back end. And so they will be, even if they certify, they'll be grandfathered into a certain number of years of payments. So it's still worth
Okay.
finishing it. But
Okay.
that's why we're not accepting any new people, because the new
Right.
people, they would be questionable, and we just don't want to
Right.
put people through that process and they don't get
Okay. Well, that's good to know.
Mhm.
Thanks.
Mhm.
All righty. Well, thanks for coming in. I will see you all on August 5th. Have a good night, everyone.
Okay.
Good night.
Bye.
Ellie?
Bye.
Holly, I'll see you
Bye.
Friday.
Yes, see you Friday. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, Bobby, Kelly, real quick.
Yeah.
So sorry.
It's okay.
What? I'm sorry. Are we doing